my live got disconnected. It's just so crazy, you know? Now, I did try to do it where I can add someone to the chat. So if you guys ever want to go live with me, let me know and we can schedule a time that we can go live together, because I know sometimes it's just me talking to you guys, and sometimes, the audience would like to see other people's faces. So, my live just completely cut off. So I don't know. Sometimes the service on YouTube is completely screwed up. But thank you guys so much for coming into my live. Make sure you like the live and make sure you share the live, like the live. You don't have to share the live, but make sure you like the live, okay? And make sure you subscribe to my channel. You don't have to share my live. Don't share it. Just make sure you like it. But we were talking about, why do men pursue women that they don't like? Like, why would a man pay for everything for a woman that he's totally not interested in? And he haven't made any advances at the woman. Like, yes, we hear of nice guys, we do. But, to me, that person is willing to be used, and you're willing to make people take advantage of you. And that's not a good thing. You have to have self worth for yourself. Hi, funny Addie. How are you? Funny Andy. How are you? Where are you from? You guys tell me where you're from as well. When you entered alive, I would love to know that. But we were talking about earlier about men who, a guy who's a single guy, he pays for everything for a female, and he doesn't pursue her, you know? He doesn't pursue her at all. Oh, you're from the state. What state are you in? I am in Connecticut. We're supposed to have a snowstorm tomorrow. So, we'll be stuck in the house tomorrow, but it's okay. It's the holidays. We're all home, just relaxing. So, do you guys agree with that? When you come in, please comment on whether or not you agree with what I'm saying. Okay, you're passing state. So you're passing state. What state are you currently passing? Do you guys agree with what I was saying about, a guy pursuing a woman, and, well, he's not pursuing her. He's being totally Mr. Nice Guy, and he is, paying for everything, and neither of them are interested in each other. How about a guy? Hmm. A guy friend that tried to use me for money. It's hard for a man to use me for money because I don't spend on like a guy friend. Like, if I ever have a guy who like asks me, which probably I did, and then I cut them off. Um, a girlfriend used me for money. Most of the people that I surround myself with, they're established, but I'm trying to think because, I've had friends who, I think there are some friends who would not use you for money, but they use you for certain things, like they're manipulators. So, yes, I've had some friends like that. They're manipulators, I'm not just, and I'm not blowing my head up, but I know a lot of stuff. Like, I know how to do certain things, and sometimes people can use my time and use me because I'm genuine. Like some friends, you'll take them out for their birthday and they don't take you out for your birthday. So stuff like that. Whether it's not intentional or not, I feel like that's using, if you don't celebrate your friend, but you want your friend to celebrate you, then that is used, so I notice certain, to me, I will, if that happens to me, then I'm pretty much calling out my friends. Funny, and I really, appreciate your comment, and I do agree with you. you know it's based on the purity of character, but in this case, they're not in a relationship, they're still single. They're not in a relationship, they're single, and it's like, I don't know if they're dependent on each other for what's happening. Maybe he feels his ego is filled when he's able to do something for a female. Even though they're not in a relationship, maybe he feels good for doing something for a female, you know? Maybe he do like her, but he's just, maybe he's not happy with himself at this time and he don't want to pursue her. So I don't know. I don't know. I said I would have to sit and talk to the person to understand where the mindset is. Some people probably don't think anything, there's an issue with how they're behaving. They think that's perfectly normal. But I don't think it's normal to be used by anyone. I don't think it's normal. If I don't have something, like, say, I'm married, so it's kind of different, and I cannot judge others, but based on when I was single, of course, if a guy liked me, but he doesn't like her or pursuing her, but if a guy was pursuing me, of course, him doing my hair would not make me feel any type of way, because he's pursuing me. But in this case, he's not pursuing her. He has not pursued her, and he's not making any advances. So I feel, yes, we've all been used, once in our life, or we've been used. I think most people have been used, but as you grow and get mature, you have to understand who's trying to use you and who's a genuine person in your life. There's some people who are very genuine, they don't use you, they try to build you up and uplift you. I have a friend like that, it's the opposite sex. They try to uplift you. If they have businesses, they'll ask you, you know, they'll include you in their business idea. So you just have to know the people that you surround yourself with. People are who they are. You're right. They are who they are. And some people will try to use you and others will not. So some people will try to use you and others will not. Really? How would I do that? I really think I could be like a counselor or something, because in my life I really do counsel people sometimes, but I also counsel. But I agree with you. Can you please let me know how do you pronounce your name? Like, put it in syllables, break it up, and so I can say it properly. Ignacio. I hate when I pronounce names incorrect, and I hate when people do that to me. But it's just, my name is simple, but it's so simple. But yeah, what was I saying? I was saying, yeah, I have male friends. My male friends, I don't use them in that capacity. And I'm not saying she's not using him, but like some of the things, and I'll tell her, to be careful, because the things you do to others sometimes can come back to harm you. And you have to be careful of people like that, that just they're giving, giving, giving. Because I think he's a male and he probably do like you, but he's fearful to approach you. Maybe some people are intimidated by certain people based on their looks. They won't pursue them, you know? They will not pursue them based on their looks. But if you're already spending on me and doing this and that, then um, why can't we be together? And I told her he would be the perfect husband for her. Okay, Gasio. Okay, Gasio. So Islam. That's nice. That's an interesting name. So Gasio. Oh, that's a nice name. So how is school treating you? What was I saying? So yeah, I did tell her that he would be like a perfect husband because if a guy is like that, they're already spending and treating you nice, then you will be well taken care of, and I think women, even though she's having no more children, we have children, we need to be well taken care of. Men really need to be the providers, but like I was saying, in America, it's actually trying to reverse the role of women and men. And mentally, I don't think a woman can be the provider. Well, me personally, I cannot mentally provide for, I work. Yes, I do work, but feel like I'm very traditional that a man should be the provider because women have to take care of kids, they have to take care of home, they have to cook, they have to clean. The things that a woman do is not the same that a man do. I'm not saying we're unequally yoked or we're unbalanced. It's just we have to balance each other. So if you have a man providing those things for you, then for sure you have to, let him be your husband. Like I was saying, at an older age, who we do care about love, but we also care about, we care about if we're financially stable. In America is very tough. You have to be financially stable. Right. You're right. Financially, he would be the best husband where she wouldn't have to take care of anything financially. But yeah, maybe they're not emotionally connected. But if you talk, yeah, they're probably not because you can have a friend that's the guy that you truly just genuinely see him as a friend. Because I have a friend that's a male that we've been friends before I met my husband, and he's married and we're still friends, but emotionally, I don't see him as a I've never seen him as a romantic person, just as a friend. So she probably just have that same thing about him. She just see him as a friend. And like I said, she's not asking, but I think sometimes she probably lead the conversation where she lead it where he's gonna feel bad for her because women have that skill. We have the skill to do that. So yeah, I think financially or he would be the best husband for her because she wouldn't have to worry about anything, but she wouldn't have to worry about anything. And so women have to be very careful because a lot of women, they go for the bad boys, they go for the men who can't do anything for them. You know, well, I'm talking about in America or Caribbean relationships. I'm not saying all Caribbean guys are like that because Jamaican men are known to be providers and protector. They are, but not all of them are. So, they are providers and protectors, but not all are. So, I mean, I told her he would be the best husband for her, but we can't force someone to be with someone. We cannot force someone to be with someone. We can't. We can't force her to be with him. Right. I think he likes to, like, he's a gentleman. He's a chauvinist. He likes to spend and make sure his women look nice. And I think most men should have that trait. A woman should not have to ask for anything. A woman Men should know what a woman wants. So he, I think, is setting a tone for men, you know. Okay, so yeah, that's good. you know I wonder what the marriage rate is in Algeria. is it the same in Algeria where, in other countries like Dubai or India where the men dominate? In some of those places, I think the men are very controlling to the women. So I hope it's not like that. I feel like in the Jamaican culture as well, Caribbean culture, the men who are providers and provide everything, they can be a bit controlling, and don't quote me. I don't know the percentage or the facts, but they control everything or think yes, your husband do own you, but you should never try to control a woman. Still allow a woman to be herself and be free. Excuse me, allow a woman to be herself, because when we get married or even in a relationship, we're our individual selves. I am still Carla, my husband is himself, or Islam, you're you, and your spouse is themselves when you when you have a spouse. But that's the thing about relationships being equally yoked. You have to allow the other person to be themselves. But I don't know if so. The thing is, I don't think most single men would pursue a woman the way this guy would. He's not pursuing her. Why do I keep saying he's not pursuing her? But most single men in America are not doing that. They're not spending on a woman that he's not getting anything, that is not benefited him in no shape or form. So most of them will not spend on a woman in that case. Most of them are not doing that. But it is what it is. It is what it is. We cannot judge a man for doing that, because like you said, he's very noble. He's a noble man, and he probably is an example for most men. But he needs to be open with his true feelings. He needs to be open, let you need to communicate, let her know how you feel. The relationship might work. I think sometimes a woman will, um based on how a man treat her like that, then she'll learn to fall in love with him. Sometimes attraction is not always there in the beginning. For some couples, they'll say it. I wasn't attracted to someone right away, but then they pursued the person, they like them based on how they treat them. Because I think love is very much a action. How you treat someone, it matters. How you show someone you love them, like, it matters. So I feel like in some sense, him spending on her here, her trips, he's spending money on her trips or here. He is telling her like he have some type of feelings, genuine feelings towards her. I don't care what he say. I don't care if he does not pursue her or tell her he like her. His actions alone is telling her that he likes her in some capacity. He's probably just afraid, you know? Some men get intimidated. Some men definitely get intimidated by the looks of a woman. And this my friend, she like luxury items, so maybe he just gets intimidated. I'm I don't know. I have to talk to her about it, but I don't think, because guys, this is not a new problem. This is like a really, it's because sometimes when I hear it, I ask, is he really okay? Like, what is wrong with him? Like, I know I told you guys I don't use words, but it's like, is he really foolish? Like, some of the things that I hear that happens, I'm like, is he okay? And I actually spoke to him on video call before, I spoke to him, so, but I did not ask him about this because I wouldn't, because it's their personal business. But sometimes I have to scratch my head because it's kind of like we're talking right now, and I say, "Oh, I'm gonna go get my nails done," and he'll just Zelle or cash out the money. I'm like, okay, It is what it is. I cannot judge that situation, and I won't be able to understand it because I'm not him. And some people might think it's fine if he wants to do that, but that's his problem. If he wants to do that, billion millionaires and billionaires do it. She said there were people at the working facility that were getting upset, that they were wondering what was happening. And if somebody likes her at the job, like he'll intervene and he'll say, "Oh, I'm buying her lunch," and stuff like that. Like, so to me, that is kind of a possessiveness. Like, you're acting like you own me, possessive. And so I feel like with those actions, it were like, ugh, it's showing me that you kind of have feelings for me, you know? Right. So, and it's like he won't buy food for anyone else. Like for the lunch at work, he won't purchase food for anyone else. Like, just for her. It's like, to me, it's a possession thing, even if it's just at the workplace. Have you guys heard of workplace husbands? There was a joke on the internet about workplace husbands, how, people have their husbands at home, then they go to work and there's a workplace husband. So he sounds like a workplace husband. Like you're at work and you buy my lunch and you do this and you do that. So that's what it sounds like to me. That's definitely what it sounds like a workplace relationship, you know? But we cannot judge, guys. We can just wonder and ponder. And he is probably, that's why I said, is he okay? Like, are you okay? I say, like, my refrigerator is broken and you're gonna buy me a new fridge. I've never heard that in my life. Not from a coworker, but they're friends now. They're more than coworkers. So, you know, I don't know. Have you guys ever experienced that? Or do you know any situations like that? I know like it might be different in Algeria, but anyone else, just let me know in the comments. Like, what do you guys think? Or have you ever experienced that? Have you ever witnessed that? I've witnessed people, they had to do so much to get a dollar, and it wasn't even worth it. They had to do so much, and it wasn't even worth it. It just doesn't make any form of sense, guys. It's just very hilarious, you know. It's very hilarious what people do nowadays in 2025. I don't know. Hi, Holly. Hello, how are you? How are you, hon? Oh my God. He will not be able to get it back because, how can you get back stuff that you do for your nails and go on trips? I don't know. It's just a weird situation. I wouldn't entertain that if I was single. When I was single, I didn't entertain much. I didn't entertain a lot of foolishness because I just, I see what people do when they're obsessed or they're lustful. So it's like people are very dangerous. So you have to be careful about taking things from a guy who's not your boyfriend, because, and then when they want something, you won't be interested. So it's like you have to be careful. You have to be careful about what you do to others, what you accept from others, but if you guys have a mutual understanding, then it's a mutual understanding. But It's tough. People will do crazy stuff for monetary gains to show people that they have this and have that. You know? It's like this person will spend, on luxury items for someone else, and he will not buy it for himself. So to me, that's the thing that's just strange. It's just very strange. Like, just come out of your mouth and say, I like you. Come out of your mouth and say, I would like to pursue a relationship, you know? Just come out of your mouth and say it. If you're over 40, you can come out and say that I like you. Just get rejected. But I'll send it to private. It will be private when we're done. So no one will see it. So after this live, no one will see it. But he doesn't know me. So how could he see the live? He doesn't know me at all. He doesn't know me at all. And I'm speaking facts. I'm not making it up. I was on the phone when he was on the phone. So I know of the things. I'm sure everyone knows. You know, and I'm not really talking about the person. I'm just asking the question, what would you do? Are you guys, if you're men or women, what would you do? Are you willing to do that for somebody who's just a friend? Are you willing to do that for someone that's just a friend? Would you rather do someone that's just a friend? I said that wrong, right? Would you do that for someone that's just a friend? You know? And when you asked before, I don't think friends are supposed to use each other. You're not supposed to use each other as friends. Don't manipulate your friends and don't use your friends. To me, that's not a friendship. It's not a friendship if you're manipulating or using someone to get ahead. You guys are supposed to help each other. You're not supposed to use your friend, you know. But if you want to be used, that's your problem. It's not my problem. Because people probably warned him to stop, but he keeps doing it because that's his personality. That's his personality. Some people are just, they allow people to do that to them. They allow people to take advantage of them. But I'm not saying she's taking advantage, but maybe other people have. So he's probably just that type of person. Right. To me, that is too much. Yeah, that's too much. It's not, to me, it's up to the person. If you have it and that's who you are, then yeah, you can do it. But if someone is using you, then you should be aware of that. And like I said, she doesn't ask for anything, he provides. So is that using? Is that using someone? If you're using someone, then if you're providing someone with your cards that you're not pursuing, that is on you. That's on you. That's on you. If you have it, then you have it. He has it to give. Some people have it to give, you know, they have it to give. Trust me, some people are working, they have no children, so they have the extra money to give. They just have themselves. They just have themselves, so they have it to give. Yeah, guys. So, what else can we talk about? Because, that topic is, we talked about it. You guys are saying, no, you wouldn't do it. Or it can be manipulation. So if he wants to do it, he can, you know, it's up to the person, you know. People can do whatever they want with their money, but just don't let people manipulate you and take advantage, you know. Don't let people take advantage of you, and don't let them do it because it's not right. I don't do that. I don't let people take advantage of me, not at all, because I work too hard. And when you're down, it's like people are not there, you know, they're not there. When you're like sick, they're not there. People don't call you every day to check up on you in America. It's just certain people, you know, they don't call you to check up on you. They don't, if you're in a hospital, they would know. So you have to be careful of who you consider a friend. I know my topic, but I'm going on manipulation and people using. Be careful on who you call a friend, because there's people who are just one-sided. People will say, "Oh, you know, you haven't heard from your friend in a long time," but that's not a friendship, because if you genuinely care about a friend, you will check up on a friend. You care if what's happening with your friend on a day-to-day basis. So don't let people fool you. And all these memes that they're putting on social media talking about, oh, adult friendship is like, I'll talk to you in 30 days. I have adults friends who have kids, and no, I do not talk to them in 30 days. I make sure that I talk to them at least maybe once or twice a week. If I don't hear from them, I text them like, "Oh, what's happening?" Because most people, we are very busy, but I try to check up on my friends. I check up on family. You cannot um we only have one life to live. So you have to live your life how you want your life to be, like a book. Your life should be like a book. So when you pass away and when you're no longer here on earth, would you be proud of the book that you wrote, that you've written about yourself or your life? Think about life that way. And in life, you have to be moral and you have to have virtue and value. I am not saying that you can't make a mistake and you can't, you know, make mistakes, but if you do make a mistake, you need to correct it. Don't continue doing the same bad thing over and over. Don't continue to manipulate others if you're a manipulator. You cannot let people use you as well. You can be kind, but don't let people use you, because that's also a problem. It's a sin to have someone use you. And you know how I stated that the guy would let someone else use his credit card. You cannot take on debts for others. You cannot become in debt because of another person. That's also a sin. You cannot take on other people's debts. So if you know that you can't afford something, you should not let someone else pay for it, you know. If there's something that you know that this person, like, he doesn't spend that way, like you're spending, like, I can't even say things because guys, they will know who I'm talking about, so I won't say what I think. But right now I'm talking in general. If you know, like, you spend on $800 on something like a shoe or something, but that person, that's not his lifestyle. Why would you have that person buy that item for you? To me, that's morally wrong. And like I said, you're writing a book, you're writing your own book. And if you have children or you have grandchildren, you have to think of the karma that will follow them when you do morally incorrect things. Sometimes it may not hit you, but it will pass you, and it will, you know, like they say, generational curse, you know, it will go on your children, on your grandchildren. So you have to be careful of what you do and what you accept from people, and what you do to others. You may think it's nothing because it's normal. Like, I was talking to a friend today, and I was talking about how some people are just, they're in tune to a lot of toxic, I can't pronounce it, toxic things or toxic environment, you know. So let's say you get with someone and certain toxic traits they have, and then you get in a relationship with them and you're like, oh, that's not normal. But that person will think the toxic trait is normal because that's what they're used to. They're not used to like a normal thing. Like, so that guy is probably, he's, being manipulated is very, to me, it's triggering. It's very toxic to have to be that weak, to have someone manipulate you. And so he probably think it's okay, but it's not okay to be used, guys. It's not okay to have someone use you and manipulate you. Right. Exactly. If your life was a movie, then what would the movie be? Like, you know, what would the movie be? What lesson did you learn on this planet? And what did you do that's wrong from right? Wrong and right. What did you do? Did you correct your mistakes? Did you learn from your mistakes? And I think we're on earth to learn. We have to evolve. We're also here to help each other. We're here to help each other, to guide each other. So if you have friends that are doing something that is not right, you have to tell your friend. My lips are dry, so I need to put, you have to tell your friend, guys. If you have friends, sorry, that are not doing something that you think, you can express your opinion and certain friends will take things certain way. You can express your opinion, but you have to talk to your friend if you think something they're not doing is not morally right. You know, the guy is single, so some people would say, oh, it's okay because he's single, he's not attached to anyone, so it's okay for him to do that. If he was in a relationship or married, that would be totally different. That would be totally different. But always think about your story. Think about, think about your book or your movie. Like when you look back, what would your movie look like? I'm sure we all have done things that we're not proud of, but you can fix it. No judgment. You can fix your life. You can change your ways. When you don't change, that's the problem. If you keep doing something that's not morally right, then that's the issue. You know, you have to try to help people, to bring people along the way, and you have to try to teach people. You cannot judge people, um, because we're not the judgers. We're not God, so we cannot judge, but we can advise people on taking the right path. We can tell people what we think is right or wrong. you know we can have empathy for others. If you feel like someone is being used or abused, you can talk to them and help them. There's many people who do things that, they're too nice, so people will walk over them. You know, people will definitely walk over them and manipulate them. And so you have to really guide certain people because they definitely will get run over. I'm sure if someone else meet up on that guy, they'll wipe him out. He's lucky that the person who he's doing it for is a genuine person. Like, she's not going to do that to him. But what if it was someone else? Like, they would just run him dry, you know? They would run him dry. So what if it was someone else? So, guys, be careful, as women and men, be careful of what you do, and, you know, be careful. That's all I can say. Be careful. You know, you have to have some type of cushion for yourself because emergency happen. Emergency happen. Right, not correcting a problem is the problem. Not correcting a problem is the problem. And also, you have to correct a problem if you're something, most things are not normal and people just go through life like it's normal, you know? They go through life like it's normal. It's just funny. You're right. You're right, Barry. You're right. Emergencies happen all the time, but we're pretty much talking about, if you're a single guy and you're spending on someone, like you're spending all your money on someone, you have to be cautious, not take on anyone's debts and save for yourself. You're so right, Islam. You're so right. Saying the same is very bad. I mean, if it's a good trait, you can keep your good trait, but a bad trait, you have to change your bad trait and don't let anyone manipulate you for sure. And you don't be a manipulator. Try not to manipulate others, because a woman have a way with her tongue. She can definitely get what she want, but it's basically teaching others that you don't have to do anything to get what you want. You don't have to. A lot of the young girls, they're doing this and do that to get something from a guy, and you don't have to do it. If someone likes you, they will pursue you, they will spend on you, they will feed you, take you on dates, they will do it. So you don't have to sell yourself and sell your soul to have like a good life or have someone treat you like a female or treat you like a princess, treat you like a queen. Like I always say, I'm a delicate flower and I should be treated as such. So for the young females out there, you're delicate flowers. So keep treating yourself like a delicate flower and allow whoever is pursuing you to treat you exactly like how this guy is treating my friend. Allow them to spend, cherish you, and spoil on you. Allow them to do that. And you don't have to sell your soul. What's my most treasured possession? You mean material? Material. Material possession. I don't think anything material is a treasure. Me personally. I don't think anything material is a treasure to me. I think my kids are my treasure, but not anything material. I am not materialistic, not at all. S- I just don't think, guys, what I treasure if you're talking about besides kids and husband, I treasure my brain, my intellect. I do. And so I don't do certain things that will affect my brain. They say if you drink too much, it will affect your brain. If you smoke certain things, it will affect your brain. You have to eat certain things. So that is my most treasured position because I have to use my brain for my job. I have to use it to raise my children. I have to use it. So my most treasured possession on my body is my brain. Well, my whole body is a treasure to me, but I love my entire self. But okay, I'll be on tomorrow about 7 o'clock. I have the topic. So you guys have to, for tomorrow, just make sure you put on the notification bell and then you'll know when I come on tomorrow. I have, yeah, I thank you, Barry. So I have 3 boys. I'm a boy mom, but I am so girly girl. So I have 3 boys. I'm very girly girl, but for my boys, I have to teach them to have morals and values. And I will have a great day, Islam. Thank you for coming on. And for boys, I'm talking about a guy he's willing to spend on anything on a female that he does not seem like he's pursuing, and he doesn't show any interest. So I have boys, so I have to teach them that they should not be used and certain things. Yes, they have to be men and have to treat a lady proper, but they cannot be manipulated. They cannot allow that. I can't allow that, because that would be a problem for me. That would be a problem if I raise boys who are manipulated, so that would be a problem for me. So be careful. You can raise your boys to be men, but have them to be cautious because women, I'm not talking bad about women, but they do know how to get things from a man, that they're not interested in. So it happens. So you have to be very careful. Thank you so much. I try my best. I try my best to be a great mom, but it's a work in progress. Being a parent is very difficult. It's a lot of work, but you have to have patience, especially if you have boys. You have to have lots of patience, you know, because they will take you there. You're a guy too, but I'm sure your mom said that. Most moms, I commend any mom, girl mom, boy mom, but kids are a lot for anyone. Kids are a lot, but you just have to have patience with them, work with them, show them love, speak life into your kids. Kids, they just need love. Excuse me. You're so right. You said it right, Barry. My boys, oh my God. You should. Ugh, my goodness. I just can't wait till they're grown up because boy oh boy, they always say you should have kids close in age and that's a lie. Have two boys close in age and oh, that will be the pain because all they do is fight and tussle and fight and fight and fight and then they make up. Oh, right. Your mom, those boys were too much. Well, they're still here. They're just a lot, but I love them. They're funny. Boys know how to get to their mom. They just know. Oh, she does? I love makeup too, so I can't judge. How old are you, Barry? I love makeup, so I cannot judge your mother because when I go out, I put on my makeup. I'm home now, so I don't have it on, but when I go out, I try not to wear a lot, just light. But it's okay. I know a lot of people are against women wearing makeup, but it's okay. You're 19? Oh, really? So you could be my son. You could be my son, Barry. How old is your mom? Your mom is probably my age. Your mom is probably around my age, I bet you. I look younger. I know a lot of people say that. A lot of people say that. Oh, wow. She's 51. She's still young. She's still young. Not bad. She's still a young lady. Are you the only child? I hope you're treating your mom well. You still live with her. Are you going to school or are you going to school? I hope you're treating your mother well. That's good. See, your mom is helping you while you're going to school. I hope you're treating her well, and helping her out. But moms love to wear makeup. Not every mom, but You know, it's okay. I don't judge people on makeup because I like makeup myself. You know, I've always loved makeup. And women don't need makeup. We just like it. So that's a stigma. We just like to wear makeup. Some ladies just love to get dressed up. Oh, Barry, 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 why? What did you do? You're just, you would give me a headache, you know? You would give me a headache. You would give me a headache. I have an older child too. He's 21. He's going to school. He's home. He's going to college. He lives here. But you know what? I think going to college on campus is such a good experience for young people. So I don't know. Probably it was, but some kids, they just don't like it. So it's okay. It's okay. So what are you doing now that you're suspended? You're joking with me, Barry. You're too much. You're joking. You have jokes on this Monday. Too much. Too much. But, you know, I've talked a lot, and Barry, it was nice talking to you. I hope you do try to get back into school and try to do well and try to, you know, make your mommy proud. Make your mom proud and try to, you know, find a way because you're young. You have a lot of life ahead of you. Just make the right choices. But I must go because I have to eat dinner or go eat my dinner now. So thank you so much for coming on to my live. Don't forget to like my live, and I hope I talk to you soon. I have a scheduled live for tomorrow at about 7 a.m. So you can put on 7 a.m., 7 p.m. So put on your I put on your notification bell and you'll be able to chat tomorrow. Have a great night and thank you for coming in. Enjoy your holidays if I don't get to speak with you. Bye bye. Thank you, you too.